Right, well, I think we will get started again. Our next speaker is one of the leading industry analysts. We have asked her to come and join us because the research that they provide is so up to date. The market is moving at a tremendous speed, and there's not many analyst firms that are able to keep up with it, and Metrigy is one of those analyst firms that's able to do it. So I'm delighted to welcome Beth from Metrigy, who will provide us with insights of what's happening in the world of AI.
Hello, everybody. Great to be here today. Glad to follow those discussions from DHL and Skoda, real-life examples of what we're finding in our research. So that was very gratifying to hear. AI, clearly, it's all around us. But I think, as we all know, and certainly as we heard this morning, it's not just about using AI, it's using it strategically. So in the next short while, what I want to do today is provide some guidance on what we've learned, what Metrigy has learned from our research with CX and IT leaders about how they're using AI and using it to achieve business success. But before I do that, let me just tell you a little bit about Metrigy and the study that I'll be talking about. I'm not going to go into full detail here, lots of information, but really the crux of what you need to know is that we are a small IT research advisory firm. One of our areas of specialty is customer experience. We differentiate ourselves by providing metrics-driven strategic guidance, both for enterprises, such as many of you in the audience, as well as technology providers. We track success metrics across all of our studies, including the study that I'm going to be talking about today, which is our second annual AI for Business Success study. This study is just completed. We conducted it in February with about 1,100, slightly more than 1,100 CX and IT leaders. I don't even think we've published this report yet, so you are really the very first folks to hear about it. Now, I mentioned tracking success metrics, and so I wanted to just quickly walk through how we do our success methodology, just so you have some context for that. And this is very high level, very quick. It's more detailed than this, but we do ask all participants in our study, first of all, whether they track success metrics, and if so, how those metrics are changing as a result, in this case, of different AI technology deployments. A lot of companies, or some companies, don't track, so they, of course, are not included in this analysis. We calculate the averages across a designated number of success criteria to assess which companies fall where. Above average is going to go into the success group. Below average is going to go into the non-success group. Once we have those two groups, we can then run correlations about technology adoption and implementation and other strategies. Okay, so for the study that I talked about, AI for Business Success, in order to qualify for that success group, companies needed to have these following minimum improvements. So revenue growth of at least 27%, or over 27%, I should say. CSAT scores improved by more than 32%. OpEx reduction of more than 20%. Agent efficiency improvements of more than 29%, 24% reduction in after call work, and then this last metric, this last qualifier is not a metric, but it is simply whether or not companies were achieving ROI yet on their AI implementations and already exist, qualified them for the success group. Okay, so when we're thinking about success with AI for CX and elsewhere in a company for that matter, a good starting point is an operational level. So I wanted to start this presentation talking about the AI Center for Excellence. So kind of self-explanatory, that label, but I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page here. So companies that we talk to that are establishing a strong AI discipline, they see the need for a team of people that have complementary skills and responsibilities, who provide expertise and best practices, training, guidance for AI decisions. This team is also going to be tracking technology innovations and assessing how they apply to the company in order to gain efficiencies and drive additional metrics, whether that's around revenue or profitability, customer ratings, loyalty, whatever. And then who is included in this AI Center for Excellence? We see a mix of roles from executive sponsors, that's critical. Big thinkers, you want somebody kind of laying out that vision, long-term vision. Domain experts, project leads, specialists in areas such as legal or maybe governance. Maybe you want some change management experts in the group as well. And then some companies will also include AI champions. So those users that are in the trenches working with the technology, maybe they can bring some lessons learned or feedback or tricks and tips that they've learned that then can be spread elsewhere throughout the company. So I'd like to get a gauge of how many of you guys, your companies, have formed an AI Center of Excellence right now. So we're going to ask a poll question. You can use your mobile app or the QR code to answer the question, what is your company's plan to form a Center of Excellence for AI? Have one now, you're planning for one, you have no plans, or you're not sure. Well, that was good. Give it just another second or so. Looks like a fairly good crowd already have an AI Center for Excellence. That's great on you guys. Our research, can move this forward. Okay. Our research, not quite as advanced as this crowd here. We see 38% of all companies have an AI Center of Excellence today. This is going to change, as you can see there in that blue slice. A large number of companies, 55%, they're planning to create one. This is maybe, if you haven't inferred already, this is something that Metrigy highly encourages. It's a way to ensure that AI's use is permeated across the company, driving innovation and helping to deliver value. Companies with an AI Center of Excellence show the most improvement across business metrics compared to those who are in the planning stages for one or have no plans for one at all. And then, indeed, we do see a correlation with success companies. They are more ahead of others in setting up an AI Center of Excellence. So 52% of successful companies have an AI Center of Excellence versus 30% of the non-success group. Now, the idea of creating an AI Center of Excellence often goes hand in hand with the idea of establishing an AI-specific executive level position, such as a Chief AI Officer, or maybe a VP of AI, whatever you want to call it, with one person as an overseer of AI strategy, of course, participating in that AI Center of Excellence or leading it. We would expect to find maybe a more, aggressive might not be the word, but a more studied, more thorough approach to AI with the goal of optimizing its use across the company rather than project by project. So while less than 30% of companies have an AI-specific executive position today, growth in this position is expected as well, and we see 54% planning to have one either this year or next, and 12% are evaluating. 39% of the success group has a top-level AI executive already, and I will make one additional note. Among our companies in this study, overwhelmingly said that the core strength of this person is going to be technology, more so than business acumen, so really an opportunity for technologists. And in fact, if you don't have an AI executive At this point, most of the companies in our study said that the CIO or CTO were responsible for AI strategy. Okay, to my earlier point about permeating AI throughout a company, 54% of all companies in this study said that they're already using AI extensively across all or most of their business units. Customer-facing operations being among the top of them, of course, and most of the remainder have AI, at least in a few business units, but maybe not fully widespread. 63% of the success group is using AI extensively versus 48% of the non-success group, so a pretty strong success correlation there. We also see among the success group, 70% are using a consistent baseline technology across business units. Now, the advantage there is shared development resources, so perhaps quicker time to deployment, lessons learned shared across business units, standardized processes for things like data collection and others. With extensive use comes increasing sophistication, and there you can see the last point there, 92% of the success group say that they are using AI today to solve harder problems than they were just a year ago. I noted earlier that ROI is a qualifier for the success group. We also asked about ROI in terms of what our study participants believed was a reasonable time frame to wait to get a return on investment on their AI deployments. And as you can see there, kind of that standard bell curve, most said between 6 months and 18 months. But as we did our success analysis, we discovered that that really is too long. We saw a negative success correlation for anything more than 6 months, but especially in the 12 to 18 month period. So roughly half of the success group were looking for ROI within less than 6 months, and then the biggest gap we saw between the success and non-success group was at less than 6 months as well. I think the kind of the takeaway here is that companies are expecting to get value out of those AI investments really quickly, and maybe if they're not, they're going to turn to another vendor, bring in another type of technology. This slide, I included this because I think it's really interesting, a very rapid shift in thinking, how companies are thinking about the relationships they have with vendors relative to AI. So as you can see in the blue line, that represents a preference to have in-depth understanding of technology, kind of all the nuts and bolts, before deciding what to use. And that's trending downward. So that far left point is January 2024. You could see that at 68%. By February of 2025, that dropped to 51%. Conversely, the green line represents those companies that really just wanted to have a high-level understanding of AI and then work with technology partners for recommendations, and that's trending upwards. So it went from 33% in January of 24 to 49% of February 25. So we're going to see if they converge and go complete opposite ways in our next study. The success group is a little bit further along on that upward trend of just having that high level of understanding, so 52% of the success group. The takeaway here is really the pace of innovation. It's happening so fast. Companies just can't keep up without getting some help from their partners, their technology partners. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about what technology we see in use. This is a lot to take in, but it provides a sense of where successful companies are, where they have AI in production. So we asked companies whether they had AI in production, whether they were testing it, planning for it, not planning for it. This chart here, you can see the top 3 for all companies overall, as well as the success group, are the areas that are most CX related, and they're also top of the technology areas that have AI in production. So, of course, contact center customer service being top, 76% of the success group, and then 60% of the success group and 47% of the success group both have the next two, so automating business workflows. You know, that's your things like appointment scheduling or creating and entering service help desk tickets or automating responses via email or text messaging following customer interactions. And then workforce management, so that's your capabilities such as auto scheduling, auto forecasting, auto coaching, auto quality management, all of those things that directly affect the contact center workforce, both agents and supervisors. Also noticeable there is that there is a negative success correlation with no plans across all areas. Here's just a quick look at generative AI. So on the left, we can see that 49% of all companies and 62% of the success group consider generative AI to be a real game changer, helping them accelerate their AI deployments. And then we see the success correlation there. So 62% of success group, as I mentioned, versus 40% of the non-success group. So a pretty strong correlation there. The data on the right comes from actually a different study that we did. That was our CX optimization study we conducted last summer of about 540 some companies worldwide. But I included it here because I thought it was really interesting just to take a look at the percentage of customer interactions that companies are expecting generative AI to fully resolve. So you can see that all companies are in that 26 to 75% range. It's a pretty big range, I would say. I think companies are still kind of getting comfortable and learning and developing their expectations around this. The success group is a little bit more bullish, and they expect between 51 and 75% of their interactions to be fully resolved by generative AI. Okay, this is another rather busy chart. So I'll walk through it as denoted in the pink in the using today. So these are AI technologies. Using today is that left-hand percentage column, and those percentages in pink, they represent the technologies that are in use by 50% or more of companies. So generative AI is top of the list. AI chat agents for customers, translation. We heard, I think both DHL and Skoda talked about the importance of AI translations, AI-generated call transcription and summarization, and then agent assist or co-pilot for your contact center agents. Moving over to the next column, the green denotes the top growth areas. There we see that agentics is the biggest, so 31% already using, 38% planning to use in 2025, while another 20% are looking to 2026 or evaluating. Other growth areas are inferred sentiment, so that's inferred sentiments of customer interactions. We see this as an increasingly important component of a customer feedback program. And then agent assist, while it's already in use by more than half of companies, it is still growing, one of the top growth areas as well. And then just lastly, a point around agentics, we do see a mild success correlation there. So 34% of the success group are using agentics now versus 28% of the non-success group. Here I'm going to show by business measure, 4 business measures, a look at the top 5 types of AI that companies in the success group are, all companies in the study have seen make the most impact, the biggest improvement on their metrics. So for example, revenue, if you're looking to move the needle on revenue, here's what we found in our study. AI-powered content creation, so for agents, for agents to use during interactions, for example. Agentics, translation, particularly helpful for those global customer service operations. Inferred sentiment, AI chat text agents for customers. We see sort of a different order, but mostly the same technologies making most impact for operational cost. But here, inferred sentiment is having the biggest impact, followed by interaction analytics. I'm sorry, that comes into play more so than AI agents for customers. Then we see customer ratings. Agentics is coming up top here, followed by translation. And then at number 3, we see AI Assist making its first appearance on the list. And then AI voice agents also coming in here for the first time. And then for employee productivity or employee efficiency, here again we see the impact of inferred sentiment and agentics, along with predictive AI, AI voice agents, and AI Assist. This chart shows the percentage of companies that are seeing improvements from the use of 4 specific types of AI. So from the left to the right, we have AI voice agents, AI chat agents, both customer-facing, and then we have agentics, and then agent assist or co-pilots for your contact center agents. And then across the 4 categories, CSAT is in blue, revenue is in green, orange is costs, and pink is agent efficiency. Just at a glance, you can see, obviously, CSAT is, most companies are seeing, more companies than others are seeing the biggest impact for their CSAT scores. And not really surprising, that's probably one of the easier measures to look for and maybe a starting point. But a couple of other notes. We do see some companies already saying that Agent Assist is helping drive revenue, so we can think about this in terms of taking that as an opportunity to help agents cross-sell and upsell during their customer interactions. And then almost a third of those using agentics are already tracking revenue gains as well. The reducing costs from the use of Agent Assist and co-pilots, that's the biggest improvement that we saw for the success group. We asked our study participants to rank AI's value for across 3 areas. So assisting humans to become more productive, fully automating functions, and then providing insights and analytics. And of those 3, that assisting humans to be more productive, most of the companies found that to be of more value than the other 3, although, of course, their value across the board. So given this, we then looked at the percent change across a few metrics for the use of Agent Assist. So while that previous slide just showed the percentage of companies that saw the changes, this is the actual change in the metric for the success group versus the non-success group. So 36% improvement in customer ratings through the use of Agent Assist for the success group, 29% improvement in agent attrition, sales up by 29% for the success group, and average handle time change of 25%. Success correlations across the board, but primarily or most notably for customer satisfaction ratings. Okay, so into the future, where are we headed? As companies evolve their strategies around AI and scope out new use cases, we see growing demand for industry-specific AI agents. So agents trained on, specific industry data and knowledge, they're going to be better able to understand terminology, maybe detect nuances during an engagement, identify trends that general AI agents might not pick up on. Therefore, an industry-specific AI agent we can expect to deliver more accurate results and more quickly. So everybody seems to agree. They see value in having AI agents for their specific industry. So 79% of all companies believe this, as well as 90% of the success group. And down at the bottom there, you can see the top verticals that want to have industry-specific agents. So if you're in high tech or telecom, financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, you might want to consider how you can use industry-specific AI agents to remain competitive. Okay, this is a look at the role that AI can play for sales. And I think we heard from Cognigy earlier about using AI, having customer service agents, marketing, et cetera, all as one agent. And here we see that 68% of all companies feel that AI can make anybody a salesperson by guiding them through a conversation. And then at the bottom, we can see that AI is helping the contact center generate enough sales to cover the costs of the contact center. And that's the case for 3/4 of companies already. And in both cases, the success group, we see even higher percentage of the success group, so 88% in the first case, and then 92% in the second case. So, what are the key benefits for using AI for sales? Identifying trends, identifying or taking a look at levels of engagement, being able to more accurately predict revenue or where there's going to be revenue shortfalls, identifying differences between high-performing agents, low-performing agents, and then using coaching to sort of level the performance. And then lastly, helping sales teams focus on the most promising opportunities. One last slide before we get to questions. We took a bunch of advanced AI capabilities and we asked our participants to sort of plot them over. When do you expect to have see these in use at your company? I just took a few of them, and just by the end of 2025. So an AI assistant calls a company on behalf of a human. 49%, I should say, of all companies expect to see this by the end of 2025. 62% of the success group. AI executing and completing tasks on a human's task list. 38% of all companies, 48% of the success group, and then lastly, AI master agent assigns tasks to sub-AI agents, very much in that sort of agentics, maybe version 2.0 area. So 1/3 of all companies feel that they'll be seeing this by the end of the year, 42% of the success group, and there are strong success correlations across all of these for each of these. And that is my presentation, and I think we have time for questions.